I'm Erik the Travel Guy, and I am thrilled to be your personal tour guide on this virtual field trip around the world. This week, we're making stops in Tennessee, Japan, Virginia, and the great city of New Orleans, and we're doing it all in 15 minutes. Why? Because that's how we roll, and you know what day it is. Thank you for joining us on this heart-pounding edition of Vacation Tuesday, where we are whisking you around the world and places closer to home. Speaking of which, what state, province, or territory or district do you live in? Well, let's get our trusty map out here because we've got a couple of items I want to bring to your attention. First of all, as you already know, our Vacation Tuesday studios are right here in New Jersey, but just to the north is the country of Canada. Its capital is Ottawa, which is here. Here in America, we've got 50 states and the District of Columbia. In Canada, they're called provinces. Do you know how many provinces there are in Canada? Yes, you in the back. 10, that's right, 10 provinces and 3 territories. Now, the top 3 largest cities in Canada by population are Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver. Canada is just one of those places where the scenery is simply breathtaking. Miles and miles of unspoiled wilderness, wildlife, lakes, streams. Whew, I feel like buying a tent just thinking about it. Back here in the good old USA, one of the best places to get close to nature is the Great Smoky Mountains. Take a look.
The Great Smoky Mountains National Park is the most visited national park in the United States. Each year, more than 9 million visitors immerse themselves in cool, crisp mountain breezes and unbelievable vistas. Part of the Appalachian Mountain Range, it's hard to miss the Smokies along the Tennessee-North Carolina border. The name Smoky comes from the natural fog that often hangs over the range and appears as large smoke plumes from a distance. Native Americans have likely been hunting in the Great Smoky Mountains for more than 14,000 years. The national park officially opened in 1934, and in 2006, the Great Smoky Mountains Heritage Center opened in Townsend, Tennessee. Whitewater rafting, tubing, and Dollywood are all popular attractions during most of the year. And at night, treat your family to a view of the stars in this serene and unique American destination known simply as the Smokies.
Hold on, we've got a destination twofer here on a Tuesday. Almost on the other side of the planet is a world-class city, which is truly remarkable, but you have to see it to truly appreciate it.
Welcome to Tokyo. It's big, fun, and full of a lot to see and do. Tokyo is the capital of Japan, which is an island nation on the east coast of Asia and part of the continent of Asia. The Tokyo metropolis has a population of more than 37 million people. 13 million live within the city limits. This Japanese city is the core of the most populated urban area in the world. This huge, wealthy, and fascinating metropolis has something for everyone, be it high-tech visions of the future or nostalgic glimpses of old Japan. By air from Los Angeles, it takes about 11.5 hours to get to the city's biggest airport. Tokyo is situated in a humid subtropical climate zone and has 4 distinct seasons. Summers are usually hot and humid with a temperature range of about 68 to 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Winters are usually mild and snow is rare. The world-famous cherry blossoms tend to bloom in March or April. Try the food, learn how to prepare sushi, explore the city center or Old Tokyo, or just a short train ride away, you can marvel at beautiful views of Mount Fuji. More than 500 years old, the city of Tokyo has come a long way from its modest beginnings as a fishing village, and today, its locals will welcome you with open arms. Welcome to Tokyo.
Whew, talk about culture. That town is cool. Have you been? Would you like to go? Well, put it on your bucket list. You know, in a recent episode, we talked about my love for road trips, and one of the road trips I took recently was to a quaint and charming city along the water in Virginia. If you're on your way to where I'm standing right now, I say watch this video first. I'm Erik the Travel Guy, and this is Norfolk, Virginia.
Norfolk is a town where the water is never far away. It's a beautiful place to visit with a vibrant art scene, mouth-watering gastronomy, and 144 miles of shore to explore solo, with friends, or the entire family.
One of the best ways to get oriented is to get out on the water. Set sail aboard Norfolk's own tall sailing ship, the American Rover. This three-masted topsail schooner has been a signature site along the Elizabeth River and Hampton Roads Harbor since 1986, offering 1.5 and 2-hour narrated harbor or sunset cruises from April to October. Norfolk's premier dining and entertainment district is Waterside District. It's right downtown. One of my personal favorites is Guy Fieri's place.
Like any other cool place, Norfolk is divided into distinct neighborhoods, each with its own identity. On a map, you'll note the downtown, historic Ghent, Chelsea, North Collie and beyond, the military highway and the airport, and finally, Ocean View and East Beach. You can find more information about each neighborhood in my Norfolk itinerary at erikthetravelguy.com. Wow, what a shameless plug.
Travel and Leisure magazine noted that Norfolk is one of the top 50 places you have to visit in 2017. And the Chrysler Museum of Art, well, it's a crowd favorite. Oh yeah, we're going in.
The Chrysler Museum of Art is home to a collection of nearly 30,000 objects spanning 5,000 years of history, and it possesses one of the great glass collections in America.
You know, the Tiffany collection here is world famous, so take some time to just slow down and take it all in. And don't forget to visit the glass studio. It's pretty cool. You know, it's not every day you can step foot on a decommissioned battleship. Well, here in Norfolk, you can do that right downtown. This is the Battleship Wisconsin. She saw tours in World War II, Korea, and the Gulf War. You can take a guided or a self-guided tour, but I suggest getting a gold ticket. That way, you can get on the battleship and get into Nauticus. Nauticus is a maritime science center and museum, and it is awesome. 3 floors of interactive, hands-on displays, 3D theaters, and sharks.
On the second floor is the Hampton Roads Naval Museum and the entrance to the Battleship Wisconsin. The cruise terminal, Half Moon Bay, is also conveniently located right on the campus.
So much to do, so little time. With or without the kids, I think you absolutely have to make a stop at the Virginia Zoo. It's an ideal way to get outdoors, see some wildlife, and buy some things you simply can't live without. Oh, thank you very much.
If animals aren't your thing, I have another idea. Norfolk Botanical Garden is nationally recognized for its deep-rooted history and celebrated for its blooms in every season. The 175-acre garden is home to 52 distinctive themed gardens, 95 species of birds, and 30 kinds of butterflies.
Back on the water, you can't depart without taking a tour of Naval Station Norfolk. This is the largest naval station in the world.
This 45-minute tour takes you dockside to the home of the Atlantic Fleet for an up-close look at aircraft carriers, destroyers, and other U.S. Navy vessels protecting the United States every day.
You know, Samara, this is a Navy town, which means there are some tall tales from the sea. But there's one tale that is undisputed. Do you know what that is? They invented the waffle cone right here at New Mars. Sadly, that's all the time we have for this video, but good news. You can take all the time you need to have a phenomenal vacation in Norfolk, Virginia. I'm Erik the Travel Guy. That's what I got. You wanna do it again? 1904, that's all right. You wanna do it again? Oh, all right, stop. That's all we got. Good.
Hey guys, don't forget to join us every Tuesday right after the program, or again at 1:30 p.m. Eastern every Tuesday for a little live Q&A about this week's show. I will be there to answer your questions about the program or any other travel questions you may have right here on the homepage of vacationtuesday.com.
Thank you for watching Vacation Tuesday. I am Erik the Travel Guy, your virtual field trip around the world. This week, our final stop takes us to a world-class city that I simply love. And the reason is, first of all, it's synonymous with world-class art. It's got history, it's got green spaces, it's got a cool hip vibe, it's got music, and it's got delicious food because of its history. That's right, it's home to my favorite sandwich, which is the muffaletta. It's also home to my favorite dessert, which is bananas Foster. We're talking Cajun, Creole, and that means we're talking New Orleans.
You know, some people try to be culinary towns. New Orleans has been one for 300 years.
Yeah.
Why?
It's the DNA. You know, it's the melting pot that is New Orleans, the port city that brought in all these different, ethnicities and cultures combined into one: the Spanish, the French, the Germans, the Italians, the Africans. I mean, it's the last real city that has its own indigenous cuisine, in my opinion, where you're not going to find anything like it outside of this city.
People used to say, oh, you come to New Orleans because you're going to eat French food in New Orleans. The idea of eating Creole, but that wasn't always the case.
No, I mean, I think your restaurants, we call them the Grand Dame restaurants, right? Your Galatoire's, your Antoine's, your Broussard's, places like that, in the French Quarter, those are true French restaurants. I mean, you go in and some of the menus are still in French, part of the menus at least. You get that French bistro kind of experience. You have your amandines and your meunières and all those classic things, potato soufflés, and then you kind of have everybody else in the city, you know? And that's where, those are Creole restaurants too at the same time. I mean, it's definitely by definition Creole. So even what we call French is still a French Creole.
French Creole. There is a line in the sand between Cajun and Creole. What's the difference?
Absolutely. Well, Creole food is kind of city food. It's New Orleans specifically more, whereas Cajun food is definitely more rustic, more outer-lying areas, more, the country food, if you will. So it's usually cheaper ingredients. It's usually living off the land a little bit more. It's influenced by, you have things like andouille and boudin and things of that nature that were influenced by Germans and French kind of coming together and using what they had. Typically a lot more pork products, a lot more, maybe things like crawfish. In the city in Creole culture, they would have never even eaten crawfish, typically, because that's more of a Cajun kind of outer lying of New Orleans kind of thing. So over the years, the influence of Cajun cuisine and Creole cuisine kind of got this mesh where they were both thought of as one thing, but by all means, especially in their origination, they're very different.
But there are tried and true ingredients that you will find pretty much in all of these dishes down here, which gives it an identity, doesn't
Absolutely.
it?
And it's regional cooking, too. I mean, you think about regional cooking in Italy, regional cooking in France, where what they're cooking in Lyon is different from Paris, is different from Alsace. Well, the same is true of Louisiana. I mean, what we're cooking in Lafayette is different from what they're cooking in Lafourche or Houma or, Baton Rouge and New Orleans especially. New Orleans is a metropolitan city. It's a big city compared to all those other places, right? So we're kind of the city folk here.
Right.
There's a little bit of flack of that coming from the Cajuns around the rest of the state, but your gumbo from one city is going to differ from the gumbo to another city, and that's kind of like what you'll find like pasta dishes in Italy and things like that. And then you come into the Creole part. Creole really is just melting pot cooking, and then their use of tomato is a big deal too. You're not going to find, if you're in Lafayette and you put tomato in your jambalaya, you might as well just leave right then and there, right? Because that's not how they do it. Now in New Orleans, there's tomato in gumbo, there's tomato in jambalaya typically, and that's where that Creole, that kind of more Spanish, Italian kind of influence comes in.
I'm glad you mentioned sort of one-pot cooking, because today we're going to make something all in one pan, right?
Absolutely.
So what are we going to make today?
So today we're making it's actually a festival dish. It's called crawfish Monica.
Okay.
So it was really created or popularized at Jazz Festival. Okay. So this is truly Creole in concept, I would say, and then Cajun in ingredients, if that makes sense.
That makes sense, yes.
Because it is a pasta-based dish. Here we're making fresh pasta, we're making it in-house, which, store-bought and dried is absolutely fine, and sometimes I prefer dried pastas. But we're using Louisiana crawfish tails from Breaux Bridge, Louisiana, Cajun country all the way. We're using, of course, our Trinity, which is, a staple of Cajun cooking and Creole cooking. We're using a little bit of tomato, which again goes to the Creole side of things. And we're doing that one-pot cast iron, which is a little bit more on the Cajun side. So, we're playing, and we even have a little Korean chili paste in there. So it's like,
that's
what?
Crazy. What?
So again, that's where we talk about kind of the evolution of where New Orleans is now, and it's accepting of other cultures and other ingredients. And that's what we do here at DTB is, there's no rules to really what we do. People ask, what kind of food are you? Well, we call ourselves modern Cajun, okay? But, you know, at the same time, it's just good food.
First-time visitor coming down or somebody who hasn't been down in quite some time, what would you recommend in terms of getting out of the Quarter? Of course, there's so much in the French Quarter to do.
Yeah.
What would you recommend?
Like traveling across the river, which some people think that that's crazy to go to the West Bank, right? It's 10 minutes away from downtown New Orleans. There's some of the best Vietnamese food in the country over there, pho and banh mi's and things like that by these Vietnamese that have been here for generations and generations. Get yourself a po' boy shrimp, you know, go to Dom Lisi's, go to you know, wherever it is that you like to go, and then go get yourself a banh mi, which is a Vietnamese po' boy.
We have to get the perfect bite.
So a little bit of tomato. Of course, there's tons of plentiful crawfish in there. That beautiful fresh pasta. There's no shortage of green onions and parsley and Parmesan and all that. So
the twirl, you gotta have the twirl.
Gotta get a little twirl, and if you can twirl it, that means that the pasta was made right. So
cheers, man.
Cheers.
This looks amazing.
Cheers.
Oh, you're kidding me. I don't know how you managed to have this dish be a little sweet without any sweet ingredients.
What I do is I close my eyes and I hear jazz playing. This is a Jazz Fest dish. It reminds me of being out there during festival season. And
we've got to finish this immediately.
Absolutely.
I don't know how this has happened, but our time is short, which means that's it for this edition of Vacation Tuesday. But don't worry, each and every episode is available online, and we'll always make more. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again soon.